Hello, fifth grade scientists. So on Monday, you learned about how constellations change with the seasons. As the Earth revolves around the sun, our night sky will change because we are looking at different parts of the universe in the winter, spring, summer, and fall. So throughout our history, people have imagined that they see patterns or pictures in the sky. They see people, animals, mythological beings in the shapes of the stars. For today's lessons, we're going to look a little deeper at that, and we are going to be studying about constellations and how ancient people have developed myths to tell stories about the stars in the sky. For today's lesson, you can either click on the NASA student reading about constellations and read it on your own, or you can click on my video where I'm going to read it out loud to you. Or if you have a printer, you could print out the article and read along while I read out loud. Any of those three things are totally fine. You can choose. When you're finished either reading or listening to the article about constellations, there is a link to a game called Star Art. When you go to this page, you're going to see 4 short myths about constellations. And then what you have to do is you have to match the myth to the actual constellation. So see if you can, as you're listening to the story, the myth, see if you can find clues to figure out which story they're talking about. So let me show you what it looks like. When you go to the website, this is after the article, when you go to the website, it looks like this, Star Art. And you can see that's one of the myths. They're pretty short. You're going to read 4 myths. And then at the bottom, as you scroll up, there's pictures. And so you would look at this constellation and you would think about the myths that you listened to or read about, and you would click right here, and you're going to put in myth number 1, 2, 3, or 4, depending on what you think that myth is talking, if this is the stars they're talking about. And then there's 4. So you're going to match up each of the myths with a constellation. Then at the bottom, you can either erase your answers or you can check them and see if you agree with what most students are thinking about these myths. Now, for the myths, you have a choice also. You can read them right on the screen, or I also did make a video of these, of me reading these myths out loud. So if you're having trouble with the vocabulary or the words, you can listen to Mrs. Sherman read each of the myths, and then go on the website and match up the myth number to the constellation. Then the last thing for today, all you have to do is fill out the Google form, and it's really a short Google form. It's just 2 questions. 1, what did you learn about today? And 2, rate your understanding of constellations. So you would give it a 1 if you really don't understand how the myths were made up to explain the constellations, or if you still have a lot of questions about constellations. Number 2 would mean that you would like to learn more about this and you don't really feel like you understand it completely. And number 3 is you completely understand this and you could actually explain it to a friend. So I just like to get some feedback on what you think of the lessons and how much you're learning. All right, have fun today. This is super interesting, and I hope you learn a lot about how ancient people made up myths to explain the stars they were seeing in the sky.